welcome back to the channel. I thought it was about time we got on with this axle. Now I've got one last piece of welding to do on this, putting this diff guard on. I eventually had the time to cut it off the other truck. Now we've put the Xcess 4x4 reinforcing kit on, and now we've just got to put this Gynn Lewis Diff Guard on. So I've prepped it all, just got to weld it. Now because this is the one I've just cut off Heimdall, there's a slightly large gap in this, so I'm going to do it in two passes. I'm going to tack it on, so tack there, tack on the other side, a tack on the bottom, put in a filler pass, and then just put a top pass over it. Be fine. It's just a diff guard, it's not structural, even though I have rounded the edges off to stop any, I'd say, stress rises, but because it's not under any stress I can't see having any issues. But yeah, so tack, fill, finish, pass, be good. These Gynn Lewis diff guards are great. I always use this type on the rear, and then I use the solid ones on the front. So I always think the front is going to be the one that's going to hit anything, not the rear. The worst thing you're going to do is back into something, so that'll be fine for this. So yeah, let's get that welded on. Just line this up. And by the way guys, if the audio sounds weird, I'm having to use a shotgun mic, not me usual radio mics. I'll do this side first because otherwise I'll obscure the camera. There you go guys, all welded up. I had to put a couple of passes on this to fill it. I put a hotter weld in this side. That's still bloody warm, I don't know why I did that. That's a hotter weld, that went in well. The metal was a bit cold, so I had to put a pass. That's really ugly, I might actually just do that with the grinder. But it ain't coming off, it's on now. So right, this needs a coat of paint and go on the truck. Ta-da! I gave it a coat of paint last night. So yeah, we're all ready to go. I've swapped the trucks round. Heimdall's in the garage, so what I've got to do now is get this jacked up, get it secured so we can drop this axle away. Now I'm not going to make the mistake that I normally make, is jack it all up and then realise that I haven't unbolted the wheel nuts. So I'm going to crack the wheel nuts off first before we jack it up, because trust me, that is a pain in the arse when you do that. So I'm going to get it jacked up, blocked up, obviously supporting it from the chassis, not the axle that we're taking it off, and get this axle dropped off, and then we can get this one fitted. It's been a long time coming. It's been one of those jobs that I just keep putting off. So yeah, jacks. So like I said, I'm making sure I crack these wheel nuts before I jack this up. Do the same on the other side as well. Right, I'm going to do the other side. I'll just show you this. Come here, Ted. I'm going to help her in the workshop today. And the other one's out there somewhere. Oh, you don't focus on that, Ted. There you go. I think the other one's basking in the sun somewhere. Right, back on with this job. I've just found the other one. Asleep under barrel. Too warm for you in the sun, mate? Oh yeah, come here. Health and safety. Still going. Still wants a fuss. Right, I'm getting back to work, mate. Right, I've done a little bit off camera. I've actually stripped the other side completely, basically so I know what tools I'd need to get out. So I'll strip this side, let you see what needs to come off. I've dropped the prop shaft off, I've dropped the oil out, and I've also undone the A-frame ball joint. Let's have a look at that before I start stripping this. So like I said, I've undone the A-frame ball joint. I've just left it sitting in there. It just popped out. I was really shocked. I thought that was going to take ages to get out. And I've stripped the other side as well. Just go around here. Oops, and bang the camera. Now everything's off on this side. So hub, brake, brake's just hanging up here. I'm hoping I don't have to brake into the brake line system. I should be able to hang everything up out of the way. There's, like I said, that's a bit dark for you, but take the prop shaft off. This is all away, so that's part of the brake pipes, and I've taken the air line off for the locker. I think I'm going to leave the locker in and drop the axle on the floor with the locker in, save mauling it, because they're a heavy lump and I've got a shoulder injury at the moment, so the less I have to maul, the better. Springs have got to come out, but it's actually sitting on the springs at the moment, so I've got it propped up on tyres, if you were wondering. It's on tyres on this side and it's on axle stands the other side. And it's got a dodgy piece of wood at the back. Yeah, the dodgy piece of wood. That is actually not taking any weight, that's just stopping the truck rocking, because it's over the centre point where I'm jacking it up. So when I take the weight off, it wants to drop down at the back and lift the front tyres up, so we don't want that. So there's just a piece of wood under there. And you don't have to worry about me being squashed, because if I get squashed you won't get to see the video, because no one will edit it. So if the video goes out, guys, I didn't get squashed. So yeah, like I said, let's get this side stripped. It's fairly straightforward. First thing I'm going to do, take the shock off. Is it 19 or 17? It's 19. 19 and 21, I think it is. It's 22. Might be 22 then. Oh, it is 22. I think that was being supported by the shock. Shock out. Actually, we'll get a little box for all the bits. That's Alf's just been for a walk. He's just come back. So there's not a lot holding that now. We'll get the. Actually, we'll drop the spring off on this side as well, so that can go away. Little plastic tray for all the nuts and bolts. So yeah, we're going to take this off next. I'll just reposition the camera for you. Oh, can't reach. Oh, that's tight. The side wasn't that tight. Get the center clip out. Take that out. Yeah, it's one of those jobs, it's 1,000 oily bits, isn't it? It's I think I've got some new ones of those somewhere. Just chuck that one in the crap. Next job, we'll have to take the brake caliper off. The longest job is taking the mud shield off because usually the nuts and bolts are knackered. Luckily I was able to undo on the other side. This has had oil getting in it, oil getting into it because the grease is all washed out. So we're going to have a look at the seal on the back, I think. We may have to order some seals before we put this together. Right, brake caliper. Now luckily most of my brake pipes are held on with cable ties, so that's handy. So there's a 13 and a 13 there. Just had this on the other side. It was really tight to get onto that one with a 1/2 drive ratchet. And it's even tighter on this side. That's the bottom one. I think I might have to just take that spring off. Because I'm not going to get in there. Yeah, we'll have to take the spring off. Finish taking this one out. You don't have to worry about taking it apart. You have to worry about putting it back together. Yeah. Let me get the spring out of the way. Right, I've moved that spring out of the way, so if I can find my gloves again, I'll live without gloves. I can get on that bolt. This really isn't a difficult job, it's just so much to take apart. Hello Ted, I was just visited by Teddy. Landrover Ted. Where would you be without bungees? And exactly where you'd be without bungee, you'd be putting it up with cable ties. That'll do for now. Right, this hub can come off now. That's it, now the brake's off. That can just come off out the way. So now what we've got to do, take the stub axle bolts out, which you can barely see because of the light reflecting on it, but yeah, there's the stub axle bolts. They're a bit of a pig because they're thread locked, and then you've just got 3 10mm nuts holding the mud shield on, which are always a pig because they're always rotten. So yeah, get that off next. Right, you missed all that off camera, guys. I've just pulled the diff out. Let me get my microphone, hang on. Oh. That brake. Okay, my camera doesn't seem to have suffered any ill effects from falling over. Except for that bit. Oh, that might not be good. I think that's a piece of camera. I'll have a look in a minute, but it does seem to be recording at the moment, so I will go over the camera and check all the bits in a minute. Yeah, let's get this off. Should have got a cloth. Always forget there's oil trapped behind them. Yeah, oh well, I'll get a cloth. Right, let me bring you up to speed, guys, of what's actually gone on. When I went to edit the video, the files of me actually dropping the axle off are missing, and so are the ones of me putting it back on. So I'm just filming this bit to fill in all the missing bits, all the blanks, you know. So obviously the axle casing's on. Exactly, you know, it's only sitting on the radius arms and the ball joint, so you saw me take those off. You didn't see me take the radius arms off, but it's sort of self-explanatory anyway. So the new casing's on. Let's go around the other side, and obviously it's on this side as well. I've just put this spring back in because I wanted to try. I've got a new set of dislocation cones. If you've watched some of the previous videos, you know I've been chucking a spring out on the other side, so I put these on. These are from Hadley Services, so cheers Andy. That's going to make a big difference. Now, this casing's, like I was saying, is all on, so we're ready really to start reassembly. Now, I'm going to put the diff in. I'm probably going to do that later today or tomorrow. Get that diff back in and start assembling. But I think I need to order some inner axle seals because, as you saw, we were leaking oil into the bearings. So I'm going to strip the bearings down and repack them. There's nothing wrong with the bearings, so we'll just put new seals in. But yeah, so there you go. We're quite a way on with this job now. We've got all these bits back on. We've got quite a pile of bits to deal with. I'm going to clean the shocks. Just give them a wipe down, wire wheel these backing plates for the brakes, for the mud shields, and replace this inner seal on the stub axle, because I think that's what's been giving me the problem of oil getting in. Well, I know it is that one, it'll be worn. But yeah, everything else, repack the bearings and clean everything down, ready for reassembly. Oh, let me just show you this. I finally got my duck on the bonnet. Yeah, cool. It's been a few days since I've been working on this, guys, because I've been ordering parts. I've got a nice new stub axle. Rather than putting the old ones back on, they were looking a bit worn, so I thought, time to put some new stub axles on. Now, we can't complete this today because the threads for the brakes, for the two bolts that the brake caliper's held on with, need a tap through them. Now, I haven't got the tap. I think it's 12 by 1.25, and I haven't got that one, so I've ordered it. It'll be here tomorrow. So what we can do today is put the stub axle on and probably get the diff back on, and that's a lot of the axle done then, and we'll clean out the actual bearing housings, repack them with grease, put it all together. So first job is to assemble this stub axle. Now, I've got a nice new stub axle. All nicely packed with grease. So sit on the plastic because everything's going to stick to it. First job, put the new seal in. Now the seal number for the back of the stub axle is FTC 5268. So, and it's in a really tough bag. Hang on. There we go. Now, when you're putting these in, you don't need any special tools, you can push them in by hand. but remember to put them in backwards. Don't put them in with this face. This is the side of the bearing seal that you normally see. Put them in backwards because you want to stop the oil coming from the axle into the bearings, so they actually go in that way, and it should just push in, and it has. There we go. I will just tap that in with a socket before we put it in. Let's get this mounted. Might as well put the seal on while we're here. Stick it into the grease, so that definitely won't hurt. Right, that's in. So now we've just got to put it in up there. Put it back in the same way it came out, which is that way. There we go. Have my nice new bolts, and a very manky ring to go on. That is the right way around. Just run these in with the nut gun and then torque them up. And off the top of my head, I think they're 65 Newton meters. Sounds about right. Now, if I had the nut gun, that'd be great. So I'm going to torque these up to 65. I think that's correct. That'll do. Right, I've already done the other side because I filmed it and there was no audio. So next thing, let's get the diff put back in. That's a big heavy lump to fit, that is. But cool, we've got new stub axles. Okay, I'm going to put this diff centre in. I've cleaned everything, and I'm going to now try and mould that up there on my own. Well, I'll have to be on my own because I'm the only person who can get in there. So I've had to put the camera on the outside so that you can actually see what I'm doing, because if it's under there with me, I'll just knock it over again. Let me crawl under there and I'll get this in. Damn, these aren't light. Trying not to squash the silicone I've put on. No, that's not going to work, it's going to roll in my hand. I'll just get some bolts on that and wind it in. Hopefully we haven't damaged the air pipe. We shouldn't have. All the weight was at the bottom. Right, some nuts. I saved you the torture of winding all the bolts in by hand, so I'm just going to torque these up now. I'm going to get a 9/16 socket for that one. Right, that's in. I've finally, dun dun dun, got the tap that I need to do these brakes. It's taken a couple of days because apparently the order didn't turn up, so I've had to wait and go back and fetch it again. But I put some oil in these threads, so we'll just clean these out. I would always say, working on, you know, older vehicles, old Land Rovers, old anything really, it's always worth cleaning the threads out. I mean, how many seconds does it take to clean the threads out? And we'll see what junk comes out of this thread. Well, I can already see the junk that's come out of that thread actually. I don't know if you can see the bits flying off that, but should focus. There we go. That's the rust and crap and bits of paint and bits of damaged thread that are in there because there's little bits of metal in it. That's where the bolt's been tightened up and just pulled on the thread. So we've just cut a nice new set of threads in there. So that is definitely the, you know, the simplest thing to do to make sure that everything bolts back up. Right, let's do the other one. Put this back, this tap back together. And this is a thread cleaning tap as well. It's a second, it's not a first. Oh, that one's a bit messed up. There we go. Like I said, there is a bit of oil in those threads. I did put some in. And again, that's pulled out a load of crud. And of course, there's thread lock in there as well, because these are brake bolts. They should have had thread lock in as well. So we're cutting out all the old. I'll just see if it'll. Yeah. All the bits of junk in that, bits of damaged thread, old thread lock, rust, everything. Oh, clean that, put it away. Don't need it again now. Right. Just to prove a point, I can now wind that in by hand. How much easier does that make it to put everything back together? I'll clean these out with some brake clean as well. Clean the threads back out with brake clean, because obviously I'll clean the nuts off, the bolts off as well, because we're thread locking them. So I want to get the oil out that I put in to use to tap them clean. Right, clean the bearings out now. Look at that, sweet. I did these ones before I put them together. So right, bearings. So I've already done this set, they're already clean, but I'm just going to get this old grease out which mixed with axle oil. It's not a bad job, it's just filthy and horrible and dirty. Just a case of cleaning everything off really. So you can definitely see that that's got oil mixed in with it, how thin it is. Doesn't actually smell though. That's you can't smell gear oil and in the cloth. So I'll repack these with some fresh grease. Don't mix them up when you take them out though. Don't go putting that one on the underside. Make sure you keep them separate because the races have already worn in for the bearing. And you will get premature failure of the bearing because it'll try to have to, you know, it might not cause an issue, but sometimes it does. So you're much better off putting them back on the same side. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. More cloth. There's no grit or dirt in here, so that's good. I'll just something to just push the other bearing out with. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, they're chewed up. Throw that away. Yeah, they're messy. Yeah, there's quite a lot of oil in that. Right, let's get these repacked. Best tool ever invented. Drop your bearing in. Screw the top on. Push down. And it's repacked your bearing with fresh grease. Oh, there you go. All nicely packed with fresh grease. Saves all this crap about doing it on a glove on the back of your hand. If you have a look at that, it's actually pushed the old grease out. Oh, come on, focus. There you go. It's actually pushed the dirty grease out, so there's clean grease in there. So I'll throw that blob of grease away. A new seal to go on the back. seat that all the way in, so it goes all the way down to the stop. That's good. We'll wipe a bit of fresh grease on the seal as well. Actually, I won't put the fresh grease on till I actually stick it on the axle, but that'll keep me freshly greased bearing in place. So we'll do the same with this one. See if we can get the camera in a bit closer so you can see how this works. It's about as good as I can get it in. I think you can see that. You just push down. You can just see where it's, I think that's in focus for you guys. You can see how it's pushed the grease through the bearing. All freshly greased. Pop a little bit of grease on the there we go. At least I know those bearings have got fresh grease in. Let's cover that up. Oh, might have put a new O-ring on that. That seems to have gone. I've got plenty of those. Get all this cleaned up, degreased, and ready to go back on. Old grease, lovely. Right, get all these other bits done. Right, I've cut out some of the boring bits, I've put the paint on. you all know how to paint, so there's no point in me showing you me painting something. I've given this a quick coat of chassis black, and it's an anti-rust one. So right, we can get this assembled now, so we can get the hob on, the brake caliper on, the spring in, get all that back together, and then we can do the anti-roll bar, which is how this job started, because I needed an anti-roll bar. So right, first job, backing plate. This should be dead easy, guys. It should be the reverse of how it went together, except I've now forgotten that this plate needs cutting. Yes, it does, because it doesn't fit because of the reinforced piece we've put in. Or does it? I can't remember if I had to cut it on the other one. I think I do have to cut it. That's weird, I don't think I had to cut it on the other truck. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. It's binding up here on the top. Let me go and have a look on the other truck, see if I had to cut this. Because I don't remember having... Oh, that's scratched all my nice new paint off. Oh no, it should just fit, or maybe not. Is that going to fit? I really don't remember. Right, I'm just going to have a look on the other truck. Okay, I've just been out and had a look on the other truck, and I have to grind a piece out of this. I have to make it a bit more flat to go over the reinforcing piece that we've done. So obviously it'll fit this end, but I'm going to have to notch out a piece here. So I'll just notch that out on the bench grinder, and I'll probably have to notch a piece out on the shield as well, and then just touch the paint back up. But yeah, I'd forgotten that. Well, that was fun. I've had to grind a piece out of that, and I've reshaped that to actually mirror the shape of the reinforcing on the axle. Fits perfectly now. Well, I say fits perfectly. I've not actually tried it. Well, that goes on. That's a start. I can actually start a bolt in that. You know, every time you modify something, you have to modify something else to make the bit that you've modified to... You get where I'm going with that, don't you? Basically, one job leads to another, doesn't it? That's it. It does fit. Right, I'll stick all this together and we'll get the whole bump. Three, two, one. Some clean grease on that where the seal's going to go on. Come on, come on. There we go. That feels fine to me. Right, let's get this. Oh, that was clever, wasn't it? Was looped through, not hooked on. Oh well, no harm. No harm. No harm done. Ow, I just pinched my finger in there. Yeah. Can't tell if they're starting or not. one has. Hope the bottom one starts. And it doesn't want to. Oh, I don't know what's going on with that. We know the threads are all clean because we did them. Right, I'm going to take this apart again. Be back in a second. Right, that was fun. I've just spent like 20 minutes just shaving a little bit more off the mud shield. It was the mud shield was holding everything up at a little bit of an angle because it was still rubbing on the back edge where I couldn't see. So that's on. It's all lined up eventually. So, oh come on, talk up, you swine. There we go. If you haven't guessed, it's quite late on and I'm getting a bit tired. I've been at work all day. There we go. You don't want your brake calipers falling off. It's not a good thing. Right. What's next? Finish putting the hub on, chuck the drive shaft in. Yep. Raptor 4x4 Heavy Duty Halfshafts, those are. They're some really strong chrome ollie shafts. So that's all back together, right. Just need to put the spring on. And then the last job that's left is to put the anti-roll bar on. This job is done. I know I must have put some oil in it though. Don't not put oil in it. Just had this with the other side, it wouldn't line up either. And it can't not line up. They will all get torqued up once I've finished. I'm going to get that shaft back out, probably. Sorted. Right. We can put oil in the axle now. Well, we'll put the spring on first. Might replace the O-ring on this side. There we go. Awesome. Right, spring. Oh yeah, I just remembered this. I can't actually do that, I've got to cut a piece off it. Because of where my water tank fits, I can't put that on. So I've got to cut a piece across there. Right. I'll leave it like that, be fine. Oh, I think this is going to be a job for tomorrow. I'm definitely feeling that. Well, I'm feeling a bit more motivated than I did last night, so I've just found the piece I cut off the other retaining plate for the dislocation cone, so at least I can marry them up. I just need something to make a mark on that. And we'll just razz that off with the grinder. But you know, no one else will have this problem unless they've got the same sort of water tank fitted to the truck that I have, which is possibly unlikely. So I'm just going to snip that off. Some nice, what's that, 3mm plate. I'll just razz through that with the grinder. Yeah, they're nearly the same size. So I've just put that dislocation cone on. And now I've got to get the bloody spring on, haven't I? Right, okay. It's a lot easier without the cones. There we go. Line up the bolt holes, kind of. Hey, look at that. That was nearly first time. Right, so I'll just bolt that on and put the shock on, and we're pretty much ready for the anti-roll bar. Got the spring back on, I've chucked the shock on as well, so it's all built back up. All I have to do is put the wheels on, but now we've just got to put the anti-roll bar on and this job is done. It's taken a while, only, hang on, about 3 months. I really didn't want to do it over the winter. So yeah, just put this anti-roll bar on and that's it. This is going to be awesome, actually having a truck that goes around corners. So here's the cause of having to build this axle, was putting an anti-roll bar on. Now you've already seen one of these before. This is the XEngineering XDeflect switchable anti-roll bar, so you can turn it on and off for on and off road. Now my experience with it so far is on barrel, because you know I've got one on barrel. It's been amazing. It's been a fantastic bit of kit. That's why I've been desperate to get one on this truck. So as I've already done a video on fitting one of these, what I'm going to do is put this on and I'll show you what it looks like after, because they're dead easy to fit. Once you've assembled it, and this one's already assembled because it was second-hand one, is 4 bolts that bolts onto the chassis through the anti-roll bar mount, and they go into your anti-roll bar mounts on the axle. That's it. So it's 8 nuts and bolts and 2 nuts to put it on. So I'm going to put this under the truck and then we'll have a look at it fitted. Wow, that was a job and a half. Now I've got it all on, there you go. And the only thing I've got to do is modify the exhaust, which I'll do later. I'm just going to order another back box because it's going to catch when that arm moves. So yeah, that's all on. Let's have a close look.
So there's not really a lot to see, it's just an anti-roll bar. But the clever bit is around the other side, as you know, if you've seen one before. And there's the clever bit. It's just a freewheeling hub on the anti-roll bar. Now you can lock it between the two positions, so if it was as a freewheeling hub, you'd have it in 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive, or you do the same with this and lock it between the two. And one gives you full articulation on the back axle and one locks it solid for on the road. Let's get around the side and I can show you a bit better. If it'll focus, it wants to focus on the tyre. Okay, we'll come back around this side. So yeah, so you can lock it into 4-wheel drive, that locks the axle, locks the anti-roll bar together and gives you an anti-roll bar. So there you go, job done. Oh, there you have it guys, Heimdall's got a new axle. Oh damn, I've earned that. That's been a job and a half. Now the reason I've been doing, well, the reason I've done this axle is that we're getting ready for a trip. We're going to the Pyrenees again. Me and Karen, Mark and Ruby, and possibly some other people. We'll see if things work out, but definitely those two vehicles. So we're taking 2 Discos to the Pyrenees, and that's why I wanted the anti-roll bar. So hence why I've built another axle, because the old axle had the mounts cut off, and I was going to have to change it anyway to put the mounts on. So new axle. So there you go. If you've enjoyed this guys, definitely give us that thumbs up, and I'm sorry it's such a long video. I was going to break it up, but I think I might as well just keep it all in one go, so it's probably just over an hour. So if you've enjoyed it, like I say, give us that thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you on the next one.